before you in a lot of this litigation, but the Supreme Court will hear a case next month on the Louisiana map that Mr. Fields and Mr. Carter referred to, and they could weaken Section 2. The Supreme Court expedited this case ahead of the 2026 election, so it could have some impact on the midterms. As you all think about taking these cases to the court and referring to Section 2 in your arguments, are you prepared for a weakened Voting Rights Act, and what does voting rights look like with a weakened or eliminated Section 2?
I'm going to have Troy and Cleo.
Well, listen, we are prepared for everything because we know that the Louisiana case is a test case. We know that the attack of the Voting Rights Act is real, and that changes the dynamic of everything. What happens in this case will change the dynamic of the rest of our discussions. What does America look like with a weakened Voting Rights Act? It doesn't look like America at all. Plain and simple. What it looks like is an illegal attack on the rights of American citizens to cast the vote for people they choose. It looks like an attempt to roll back the time, to take away the hard-fought rights that were gained at the Pettus Bridge, that were gained by the freedom fighters who marched. Good people, black, white, working together to demonstrate that people's rights should be recognized. An attack on the Voting Rights Act will be the demise of that. And America's watching, we're watching, and we're not going to sit back and let it happen without a fight, without bringing every legal tool to bear to defend our Constitution.
Just very briefly to that, listen, after slavery and after the passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, blacks in Louisiana had the right to vote. But there were state laws that prohibit them. They had state laws where when a person went to register to vote, they had to state how many bubbles were in a bar of soap, state the preamble to the Constitution, the poll tax. The Voting Rights Act was designed for states like Louisiana. And I'm just optimistic. I just don't think that the Supreme Court is going to water down or rule aside the Voting Rights Act.
Where does that optimism come from, given the weakening of the Section 5? Like, where does your optimism come from for folks out there who don't have that hope or optimism that you're expressing?
Well, I have it, and I have it for good reasons. I mean, listen, people in Louisiana and people in the southern part of the country has a right, just as much of a right to participate in this democracy as anybody else. And without the Voting Rights Act, they will not have that opportunity. Louisiana's minority population is over 33%. There's 6 members of Congress from the state. Is the Supreme Court going to say that a black person doesn't have an opportunity to elect a candidate of their choice? I don't think so. The legislature is meeting right when the Supreme Court hears the case. I think that's putting the cart before the horse. But I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that the Supreme Court will see through it all. We have very good lawyers, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. I think, although the Attorney General backed away from the case, but I'm optimistic because I have to be optimistic. Otherwise, we have another post-Reconstruction period.